All right, let's jump into this deep dive. We're tackling how to create a supportive environment after TBI.
Absolutely.
And we've got this awesome PDF, Creating a Supportive Environment, to guide us.
It's a fantastic resource packed with practical strategies.
So practical, in fact, that it really got me thinking about how much we often overlook the importance of, like the nitty-gritty details.
Oh, absolutely.
And this PDF, it doesn't shy away from those details.
Not at all.
Which is what I love about it. It dives right into the importance of routine, and not just a general, hey, routine is good, but like specific daily routines.
Right.
Wake-up times, meals, activities, the whole shebang. It even mentions using a giant wall calendar.
Yes. Visual.
Updated together every week. Why the emphasis on that visual collaborative calendar?
Okay, so you've hit on something absolutely crucial about TBI recovery. TBI can really impact those cognitive functions we rely on every day: working memory, executive function, those things that help us plan, organize, make decisions. Imagine a world where your brain struggles to hold on to information or just make a simple decision. That's the reality for many after a TBI.
Wow, yeah.
So that's where routine becomes a lifesaver. It's like an anchor for the brain, the source of stability.
Makes sense.
Even small disruptions to a routine can be really unsettling, trigger a stress response after TBI.
Oh, wow.
Predictability is key, and that shared calendar, that visual representation of their schedule, it makes a world of difference.
It's like a roadmap for their brain, right? Reducing that anxiety, the cognitive overload.
Exactly, and involving them and updating it. It gives them a voice, a sense of control, which is so important. It says, hey, your preferences matter. We're in this together.
I love that. It's not about controlling, but giving control in a way that works for their brain right now. And speaking of routine, the guide also recommends a weekly outing. Why is that so important?
Oh, that's a great question. It might seem simple, but that weekly outing, it's about combating social isolation.
Which can be such a struggle after a TBI, right?
Absolutely. Recovery can be so draining, physically, emotionally. It's easy to withdraw, feel disconnected. That outing, it's something to look forward to.
Right.
A change of scenery, social interaction, just positive experiences that contribute to their well-being. It's huge.
It's not just getting out of the house. It's that social connection, the morale boost. It's brilliant. Reading through this PDF, I'm really struck by how much it emphasizes understanding the invisible ways TBI can impact someone.
Absolutely. And I think that's what makes it so valuable. It doesn't just address the obvious. It goes deeper.
Way deeper. And nowhere is that more apparent than in the section on modifying the physical environment. It goes way beyond keeping things tidy and safe, which is, important. But
Right. There's so much more to it than that.
it's like they're getting at those things you wouldn't even think about.
Exactly.
For instance, they talk about using contrasting colors on stairs.
Oh, yes.
I'll admit, I never would have thought of that.
It's fascinating, isn't it?
It seems so specific. What's the reasoning there?
It all goes back to how TBI can affect sensory processing, visual perception especially. Depth perception issues, those are common after a TBI.
Ah, so even something like stairs.
Something as simple as stairs can become really tricky.
Yeah.
Their brain's having trouble interpreting that visual information correctly. Those contrasting colors, they act as a visual cue, making the edges of each step more defined.
Oh, I see. So it's easier to perceive.
Exactly. It's a small change that can make a huge difference in preventing falls and increasing their confidence.
That's incredible. I'm seeing how every single recommendation in this guide, it's really rooted in this deep understanding of TBI's impact.
That's exactly it. It's about understanding the why behind the what. And that brings us to another interesting point. White noise machines.
Okay.
Yeah, most people, they think about recovery, they think silence.
Right. Peace and quiet.
Right. So this one might seem a little counterintuitive.
It did to me, for sure.
But again, remember how we talked about sensory processing?
Yeah.
After a TBI, the brain can be so easily overwhelmed by sensory input. What seems like normal background noise to us can be incredibly distracting,
Oh, wow.
even distressing for someone in recovery.
So it's not about eliminating sound altogether.
No. It's about creating a more soothing, auditory environment. That's where the white noise comes in. It creates this consistent, neutral sound
Okay.
that helps to kind of mask those distracting background noises, making it easier to focus, to relax.
Like noise-canceling headphones, but for like your whole environment.
Exactly. You got it.
I'm starting to think this PDF should come with a warning label.
A warning label.
Like, reading this may cause you to rethink everything you thought you knew about TBI recovery.
I love it. It's true, though. It challenges those assumptions.
It really does. Okay, so shifting gears a bit here, there's a section on positive reinforcement,
Yes. Yes.
which, at first glance is like, okay, everyone likes a pat on the back,
Of
right?
course, of course.
But this guide, it takes it to a whole new level.
It does. It does.
It's not just about generic encouragement.
It's about concrete strategies.
Yes. And it's so refreshing to see that level of detail.
Absolutely, because those details matter.
They really do. For example, one that really jumped out at me was donating to a charity in the individual's honor when they achieve a goal.
Oh, I love that one.
I mean, how brilliant is that? Tell me about the thinking there.
It's all about tapping into motivation and empowerment. After a TBI, it's really common to experience changes in motivation, emotional regulation.
Right.
Things that once seemed effortless might feel incredibly challenging.
Yeah. It's like their internal reward system has been disrupted.
You've got it. And that's where this strategy comes in. Donating to a charity in their name, it taps into a different aspect of reward. Seeing their efforts make a positive impact.
Connecting it to a bigger purpose.
Exactly. It's a powerful motivator.
That's incredible.
It reminds them they still have agency, that their actions matter, that
Yeah.
they can still make a difference.
I love that. And speaking of motivation, the guide also talks about praising effort over outcome.
Oh, that's such an important one.
It's so important, but it's easy to forget in the moment.
It is.
Why is it so crucial, especially in the context of TBI recovery?
Because TBI can make even simple tasks feel insurmountable. Imagine struggling to button your shirt, something that used to be second nature. And imagine someone only praising you when you finally button that last button.
Right.
It'd be so discouraging.
It would.
But if you're acknowledged for each button you manage to do, for the effort you're putting in,
Yeah.
it reinforces that trying is valuable. Even if the outcome isn't perfect yet,
Right.
it's about those small victories.
Yes. Celebrating those small
The
victories.
small victories, they make all the difference in maintaining motivation, building self-esteem. It's huge.
It's huge. As we're going through this, I'm so struck by the theme of collaboration that runs through every single recommendation.
It's amazing, isn't it? It's refreshing. So often caregiving, it can feel like you're doing things for someone, not with them.
Yes. And this guide, it really emphasizes involving the individual every step of the way,
Yes.
recognizing that they are the expert in their own experience.
And they give such concrete examples of how to put that into practice.
They do.
Like one that really stood out to me was, let them choose the color of their pill organizer.
Oh, I love that one.
It seems so small, but I can see how it would be significant. What's the thinking behind that level of detail?
It all comes back to fostering self-efficacy.
Hmm.
After a TBI, it's so easy to feel like you've lost control,
Oh, yeah.
that everything is being decided for you.
And that must be so frustrating.
It's incredibly frustrating. So even a choice that seems small, like the color of a pill organizer,
That can be incredibly empowering. It's a way of saying, hey, your preferences matter. You have a voice in this. It's about reclaiming those little bits of control. And those little bits of control, they can make a huge difference in how someone feels about their recovery.
it's about respecting their autonomy,
Yeah.
helping them regain that sense of agency.
Exactly. You said it perfectly. And then the guide takes it a step further with the suggestion of role-playing, advocating for themselves.
I love that idea.
It's brilliant.
It's like they're not just thinking about right now, but like equipping the individual for the long haul.
Absolutely. It's that long-term vision, because TBI can affect communication, assertiveness, role-playing those situations, whether it's at a doctor's appointment or in a social setting.
Right.
It builds those skills in a safe, supportive way.
It's like preparing them for success in the real world. I'm so glad they included that. Okay, so we've got 2 sections left, and they seem kind of connected.
Okay.
Ensure consistency across settings and engage professionals and seek support. It's like they're saying, okay, you've created this amazing supportive environment at home. Now what?
It's all about expanding that circle of support, right?
Yeah.
Taking it beyond the home.
It's like that consistency. It's not just about the physical space, right?
Right. It's about creating consistency in the way things are approached, the strategies that are used.
So everyone's on the same page.
Exactly. It minimizes confusion, reinforces that learning, that sense of predictability that's so important after a TBI.
And that's where those support systems are so crucial.
Right. Absolutely, and that's where professional guidance comes in. They can help make sure everyone's efforts are aligned, tailored to the individual's specific needs.
Because every brain injury is unique. Every recovery journey is unique.
Exactly. There's no one-size-fits-all approach, and that's why that collaboration between, family members, friends, therapists, doctors, it's so important. It takes a village, as they say.
It really does. And speaking of support, I was so glad to see the guide emphasize the importance of respite care for caregivers.
Oh, so important.
It's easy to forget that caregivers need care too.
It's so true. Caregiver burnout is a real concern, and this PDF, it acknowledges that head on. It's that reminder that seeking support isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. You can't pour from an empty cup.
You can't. You need to take care of yourself so you can take care of others.
Exactly. It's about self-care, it's about sustainability, creating a more sustainable approach to recovery for everyone.
And I love how this PDF really highlights that. It's not just about, like, do these things and everything will be fine. It's about approaching this whole process with a sense of, like, shared responsibility and understanding.
Absolutely. It's about shifting from I have to do it all to we're in this together and it's okay to ask for help.
Yes. And that's such a powerful message. Going through this PDF, it's clear that creating a supportive environment after TBI, it's about so much more than just the physical space,
It's
right?
just about so much more. It's about fostering understanding, respect, empowerment.
It's about creating that space, that feeling where the individual feels safe, supported, empowered to participate in their own recovery.
Yes, beautifully said.
This entire deep dive has been so insightful. I feel like we've only scratched the surface of this incredibly complex topic. But before we wrap things up, is there one final thought-provoking takeaway you'd like to leave our listeners with?
I think the biggest takeaway is this. Creating a supportive environment after TBI, it's not a one-time project. It's this ongoing process. It's about learning, adapting, and growing alongside the individual you're supporting.
It takes flexibility, open communication, that willingness to adjust as needed, because what works today might not work tomorrow, right?
Exactly. And sometimes it's those small changes, those little adjustments that can make the biggest difference. Every gesture, every interaction, it all contributes to that overall environment. And when that environment is crafted with care, with intentionality, it can be truly transformative.
That's beautifully said. Okay, listener, here's a little something to ponder as you continue on your own deep dive into creating that supportive environment. We talked about white noise machines, but what if you went beyond that? Could certain types of music, nature sounds, or even familiar voices actually aid in the recovery process? How can we create not just a supportive environment, but a healing one? It's something to explore, to research, to discuss with those professionals.
What a fantastic question to leave our listeners with. It's about pushing those boundaries,
Yeah.
discovering those really innovative, personalized approaches that can make a world of difference.
And that's what it's all about. This has been an incredible conversation. Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive.
It was my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
And to our listeners, thank you for sharing this incredible resource with us. Remember, you're not alone on this journey. There are people out there, experts and fellow caregivers, who understand what you're going through and are there to support you every step of the way. Until next time, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep those amazing brains of yours engaged.